So we need a new name for this Sunday show.
Yeah.
Like we don't like Sunday Roundup, so
we've got news flakes.
News flakes.
Which Gareth isn't a fan of.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of news flakes.
Basically, news stories that aren't good enough for a video on their own, but they're still pretty funny or they're still pretty interesting.
Yeah, notable news. Weekly notable news.
Kind of notable news. That's the thing.
Kind of notable news.
Almost there.
It has to be notable though, because otherwise, what was the point of doing the video about it?
Hence the conundrum. See,
That's
a difficult one, isn't it? Until we've got a good name like that, you're gonna get shit intros like this every single week on a Sunday. Gamers are among the biggest wankers around. They also masturbate a lot. Everyone's favourite hero shooter, Overwatch, was actually in the top 20 most searched terms of 2016 on the website PORNHUB. Yet, despite apparent resistance from Blizzard, Overwatch has, for some reason, become a pornographical phenomenon over the last year or so. After Kotaku did an admirably thorough investigation into the subject, it became quite a well-known thing on the internet. Overwatch porn is a big deal for some reason. Despite Blizzard's best efforts to shut the whole thing down, even hiring out contractors to crack down on Overwatch porn on the internet, Overwatch still became the 11th most searched term on Pornhub, alongside a bunch of other more generic search terms.
They hired contractors to crack down on porn.
Yeah,
what? Once something's on the internet, I'm afraid it's there forever.
I'm not a fan of Overwatch, so I've got to put it out there. And I think the way the characters are designed, a lot of them and stuff, they were asking for this. They wanted this to happen, and then this whole crackdown thing is like, oh, we hate having Overwatch porn. Yeah,
That's right.
It's bollocks. They love this. This is good for them.
The way that they're designed, you're right. It's like, if you could pardon the expression, they were teetering on the edge of porn the whole time.
Yeah, they were asking for it. They had that controversy with one of the characters who was too sexual for some reason, and then they backtracked on that and changed it and stuff. So there's a bit of a history to it.
So let us know who your favourite porn characters from Overwatch down in the comments below. We'll have to do our research and see if we agree with you. Well, I might. And next up, Sega have announced they're planning a revival of some of their major IPs. At their recent earnings report, Sega unveiled their Road to 2020 presentation, where they outlined a plan to expand on their major properties. It is possible that they're planning a comeback of formerly massive franchises like Phantasy Star, Panzer Dragoon, and Jet Set Radio, none of which that I've heard.
Yeah, they're all kind of cult classics, aren't they? They're all, they were very big in the 90s, basically, and Sega is a different beast now to what it was in the 90s, so this kind of thing will be very exciting to Sega fans from the 90s, like Liam, for example.
We've already seen the first steps of this strategy with the PC port of Bayonetta and the release of Persona 5, which seem to be paying off quite well. Bayonetta PC is one of the highest rated games of the year so far, and the upcoming Vanquish port has been generating a lot of interest online. Could this be the year that Sega makes a comeback? One interesting fact, and an article I saw recently, is that now that Bayonetta has been ported to PC, kind of ties in with the previous story as well, is that Bayonetta has got like a porn mod or a naked mod,
of course,
which is interesting. I don't know, it kind of speaks to where I get my gaming news from, but a lot of it is centered around porn for some reason.
Gaz also found the Overwatch porn story. That's what that's about.
Yeah, okay, it's true.
Last week, Remedy announced that Alan Wake would be removed from digital stores because of expiring music licenses. Remedy were very kind enough to announce this to the community, and they put the games on a 90% off sale for anyone who had yet to grab them. But now they are officially gone and can no longer be bought from any digital outlet on the internet, serving as a reminder of one of the long-term drawbacks of digital distribution. You might say Alan Wake has now been put to sleep. Bit of writing from Gaz there, that last bit there. I get it.
You're welcome.
It's good.
You're welcome.
This has happened a bunch in the past, with Marvel titles and things like that. Licenses expire. Marvel licenses are quite notorious for this kind of thing. So there's games that have just been pulled. Also, things like Crazy Taxi, where they had a bunch of like Offspring kind of 90s punk music and stuff on it. That's good. So in the version of Crazy Taxi that you can get now on Steam, there's none of that kind of music in it. So there's these license expires, and the beast that came out 1 year is not the same 5-6 years down the line, and then, as in this case, it might not even be available to buy anymore, and that's one of the risks of digital distribution. Yeah,
and if you think about the soundtrack for Mafia 3, that's got a lot of
jam-packed.
A lot of music in there. So what's the expiry date on that game? That's the question for me. The developers of Parappa the Rapper and Gitaru Man have launched a Kickstarter for their new project called Project Rap Rabbit. The game puts players in the role of a rabbit called Toto Maru as he embarks on a journey of truth, justice and liberty, whilst engaging in a spot of battle rap. Of course he does. However, there are also stretch goals for Xbox One and Switch versions, but they are priced at $3.1 million for the Xbox One and $4.95 million for the Switch. Rap Rabbit. Stupid name, isn't it? Project Rap Rabbit has a funding goal of $855,000 and is aiming to launch on the PS4 and PC sometime in August 2018. Given the mixed reception that Parappa the Rapper remaster received earlier this year and the disappointment with Yooka-Laylee, who knows if this nostalgia game will live up to its promises.
This raised a lot of eyebrows because, I mean, you would have got that from the voiceover there. $855,000, okay, that's their development target. Yeah. Then there's like, there's a massive leap then to $3.1 million to get it on the Xbox.
Yeah.
And almost $5 million to get it on the Switch.
Yeah.
What the f is that about?
So they've got PS4 versions and PC versions. That's going to cost them $855,000. For an Xbox One version, they're upping it to so it's an extra $2.25 million or something to port from PC to Xbox. You're joking, because it's the same operating system almost.
That's mind blowing. And I saw a few people on Twitter talking about this and saying it was ridiculous. It is ridiculous. And then they pulled the stretch goal definitely for the Switch version because it is ludicrous. $5 million. They can't justify that. So they have pulled those goals now. So
it doesn't make sense for somebody who wants to invest and get a PS4 version or a PC version. They won't want them to hit the stretch goals because that takes away resources from their version. Right. If you know, you don't want them working on an Xbox One version if you've bought it for the PS4. You want them putting all the time.
About that?
Exactly. I'm an early access investor in the PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds game, and they've just announced that they're porting it over to the Xbox One and PS4. None of which I'm interested in. So the money that I've given them, they're now going to spend that on creating another version of the game. Which, why don't they just fix the bugs that are already in there for the first place? This kind of shit kind of angers me, if you haven't noticed. So, yeah, fix your shit. Just work on the version that we've given you money for. God damn it.
It's a good point. Like, morally, like, you'd want the money, the early access money, to make the PC the best game it can be. And then once they can release that into a full release, and after the game's come out officially and they're just making normal sales from people who aren't buying early access, then use that money to port it over to the other systems. Like, morally, that's what they should be doing. Also in the news, Nintendo are continuing their push into the mobile market with a rumoured Legend of Zelda mobile game. At a recent investor call, Nintendo announced they are planning to release 3 new mobile games by March 2018. The Wall Street Journal claims that the first of these games will be an Animal Crossing title, which will launch in the second half of 2017, with a Zelda title to follow in 2018. Nintendo have recently found success with Super Mario Run and Fire Emblem Heroes, which Nintendo say have earned them around $176.4 million since launch.
Zelda already is a mobile game on the Switch, pretty much.
Yeah, let's move on.
I want to say something negative because it's Nintendo, but I can't find anything.
It's just the simmering there.
During an investor Q&A session, Capcom revealed that Resident Evil 7 failed to meet their sales expectations. Capcom's original goal was to ship 4 million copies of Resident Evil 7 by March 31st, 2017. However, they only managed to ship 3.5 million copies despite the game's positive reception. Capcom are expecting lifetime sales of RE7 to eventually hit 10 million, saying the life cycle for games is growing longer and that digital sales play a big part in the longer life cycle. Despite falling short, Capcom see RE7 as a resounding success, and they say they're working hard at developing the upcoming expansion for the game.
10 million? Calm down, Capcom. Calm down. 10 million is loads.
It's huge.
I mean, this is ridiculous. I'm glad that they're acknowledging it's still it's a great success.
Yeah.
Because it is. When they set these ridiculous targets and then they still sell 3.5 million, 4 million copies or whatever, and they're like, oh, damn, we didn't sell 10 million though, did we?
Yeah, it leaves you with like a negative feeling towards it. We're like, we sold 3.5 million copies. It's like it's a resounding success.
Yeah.
And it's within like 12.5% of their target. So, you know, it's not that bad, is it?
You've got to assume that they're looking like long term over the next 2 years or something at like Steam sales, PlayStation Store sales, Xbox sales, Black Friday sales, all that kind of thing. They're obviously banking on 10 million over the next 2 years or something like that, because to expect it by, you know, 4 or 5 months down the line is mental. And finally in the news this week, HTC has announced a new addition to the Vive VR headset range, and the most interesting part is that it doesn't require a PC or any other bit of hardware. This new headset is completely standalone and is powered by Google Daydream, an evolution from Google Cardboard. All of the required tech like CPU and GPU are built directly into the headset, which means there will be no wires or anything like that to keep you tethered down. That is all they've revealed about it so far. There is no price point or even images of the headset yet. HTC do say though that it will launch later in 2017.
Couple of questions. How do you interface with the game? and what are the capabilities of the hardware? It's got to be very limited, hasn't it?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a mobile VR system, awesome, but it needs to be controllable, like what you control it with, you know, some sort of interface, and it has to be high powered to give you a high resolution. If they can fix those issues, I'm on board.
It's going to be more about the experiences, I reckon. It's going to be about like, oh, I'm on a roller coaster, or that kind of stuff in it, or being in the cinema, which is one of my favourite uses of it, like imagining you're sitting looking at the screen. I imagine that's what they're trying to go for, and an introduction to VR gaming, because it's probably not going to be capable of much more than that.
So that's it for your roundup this week. Let us know what caught your eye in the news down in the comments below. Hit a like if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you're new around here. Check out some more of our content right about here on the screen. There's a link up here for Patreon if you're awesome and you want to support us. We'll see you again in the next video. Bye for now.